Hi class! In this video, I'm going to work through some homework problems from topic 5 in our statistics unit. This is basic probability. The first question says, a recent survey of 1,010 U.S. adults selected at random showed that 621 consider the occupation of firefighter to have a very great prestige. Estimate the probability to the nearest hundredths, so remember that a U.S. adult selected at random thinks the occupation of a firefighter has a very great prestige. Okay, so what this problem is asking, the probability that you would pick an adult that supports the firefighters. Okay, we know that there was a total of 1,010 adults, and we also know that 621 of those 1,010 have a very high opinion of firefighters. And so if we were to estimate this probability to the nearest hundredths, go ahead and take your calculator out, and we'll convert this fraction into a decimal. 621 divided by 1,010 equals the decimal 0.61485, but the question asked just to round to the nearest hundredths, and so the answer is 0.61. Okay, next question says you roll 2 fair dice, a green and a red one, and then I asked you a few questions about the sum of those 2 dice. We did talk about this in class, but I went ahead and put the sample space of 2 dice. And so remember how to read this chart. So do you see where the 2 is? That's the intersection of when you roll a 1 on both dice, which is snake eyes. And then if you go immediately to the right of that 2, that's the intersection of when you roll a 1 on one dice and a 2 on the other dice, because 1 plus 2 is 3. And so in total, there are 36 possible sums when you're rolling 2 dice. Question A says, what is the probability of getting the sum of a 7? And then it's asked to enter the answer as a fraction. Do you see from this chart there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to get a 7 out of a total of 36. So 6 out of 36. That simplifies to the fraction 1/6. And so that's your answer for part A. Part B says, what is the probability of getting a sum of 11? Do you see that 11 only appears twice out of the 36 possible sums? So the fraction would be 2 out of 36, which is 1/18. Part C, what is the probability of getting the sum of 7 or 11? So remember there were 6 ways to get a 7, 2 ways to get an 11. Because it's 7 or 11, we can add those together to get an 8. So 8 out of 36. And that simplifies to the fraction 2/9. The last question says, are these outcomes mutually exclusive? If you had 2 dice and you rolled them, could the 2 dice add up to the number 7 and add to the number 11 at the same time on the same roll? Well, no, they can't. They can't because you can't have 2 things happen at the same time. So the answer is yes. These are mutually exclusive events because you cannot get both a 7 and 11 at the same time. Okay, next question. It says the table shows the number of minutes customers waited in line at a bank during lunch hour and the corresponding frequencies. And then it says find the probability of each event, rounding your answer to the nearest percent. Before we find probability, we need to know the total number of customers. So the first thing I want you to do is add the frequency column together. When you add those together, you get a 27. Now we can go and answer these questions. Part A says a customer waited 4 minutes. According to the table, there was 3 out of the 27 customers waited for 4 minutes. So we would take the fraction 3/27 and convert that to a percent. The easiest way to do that is on your calculator, 3 divided by 27. And then take that decimal and multiply by 100. And it says round to the nearest percent. That means to the nearest whole number. And so the answer for part A is 11. On WebAssign, the percentage symbol is already there for you, so you can just type in the number 11. Part B says asking us the probability for a customer who waited 3 or 4 minutes. If you go back to the chart, 10 people waited 3 minutes, 3 people waited 4 minutes. So that's a total of 13 out of the 27 waited either 3 minutes or 4 minutes. Again, take your calculator to convert this to a percent. 13 divided by 27, multiply that decimal by 100. It's the decimal 48.148. Again, round to the nearest percentage. And so part B would be 48%. Part C is asking for the probability of a customer waited less than 4 minutes. So be careful how you read this. Less than 4 minutes means 1 minute, 2 minutes, or 3 minutes. It does not mean 4 minutes because 4 is not less than 4. It's if you just add the customers who waited 1, 2, or 3 minutes, that's 7 plus 2 plus 10, which is 19. Out of the 27 waited less than 4 minutes. Again, take that fraction 19 out of 27. You're going to get a decimal, multiply that by 100. I have the decimal 70.37, but again, it says round to the nearest percent, which would be the whole number 70. Okay, one more. The probability of a customer waiting 5 or more minutes. Okay, a customer who waited 5 minutes was one customer. More than that is 4 more customers. So a total of 5 customers had a long wait of 5 or 6 minutes or more. We'll take the fraction 5 over 27, multiply that decimal by 100 to get the decimal 18.51, but that rounds to the nearest percent of 19%. And so your answer for part B is 19. Okay, let's work through one more example from your homework. A national park is famous for its beautiful desert landscape and its many natural rock formations. The following table is based on information gathered by a park ranger of rock formations of at least 3 feet. The height of the rock formation is rounded to the nearest foot. Then it's given us the table. It says for a rock formation chosen at random from this park, use the preceding information to estimate the probability of the height of the rock formation is as followed. And then it says round to 2 decimal places. Again, before we find probability, we need to know the total number that we're working with. So in this case, it would be the total number of rock formation. So I want you to add together 116 plus 90 plus 22 plus 26 plus 6 for a total of 260 rock formations. And now we'll use that total to answer the following questions. The probability that the rock formation would be 3 to 9 feet. If we go back and look at the chart, do you see there's 116 that fall between the 3 to 9 foot range? And so we had set the probability of 116 out of 260, and we'll convert that fraction to a decimal. When you use your calculator, you have 0.44615 and then on and on. It does say round your answer to 2 decimal places. And so this would round to the decimal 0.45. Okay, part B, what's the probability that the rock formation will be 30 feet or taller? Again, looking back at the chart, 30 feet or taller, and so 30 feet or taller are 22 plus 26 plus 6. There are 52 rock formations out of the 260 that are 30 feet or taller. Convert that fraction to a decimal, and you get the decimal 0.20769 on, and that rounds to the decimal 0.21. Part C, what's the probability that the rock formation will be 3 feet to 49 feet? That would be these first 3 values. So we'll add 116 plus 90 plus 22 together, and that equals 228. So 228 out of the 260 fall between the 3 to 49 foot range. Convert that fraction to a decimal, and it's the decimal 0.876923, and then on. If you round that to 2 decimal places, it's 0.88. Part D, find the probability that the rock formation will be 10 to 74 feet. 10 to 74 are these middle 3 sections. That's 90 plus 22 plus 26. Add those 3 together to get a total of 138 out of the 260 fall between the 10 to 74 foot range. Convert that fraction to a decimal, and the decimal is 0.530769 on. When we round it to 2 decimals, it's 0.53. And last question is asking for 75 feet or taller. That is just this last section. There was only 6 out of 260 that were that tall. Convert that fraction to a decimal. It's the decimal 0.023076, and on. Round it to 2 decimal places. Round that to 2 decimal places to get 0.02 as a final answer. Okay, that's all for this video. Please let me know if you have any questions as you're working through this homework assignment.